The last human transport ship limped through the dying embers of what had once been the Kepler Gateway. Captain Sarah Chen watched through the viewport as the massive quantum gates, humanity's lifeline to the galaxy, collapsed into twisted metal and dissipating energy. Behind them, the hegemony fleet maintained its blockade, ensuring no human vessel would ever pass through again. "Ma'am," Lieutenant Rodriguez called from the communications console, his voice tight with barely controlled emotion. "We're receiving the final transmission from Earth Command." Chen nodded grimly. She already knew what it would say. After 3 centuries of expansion across the galaxy, humanity was being cut off. The Zephyrian hegemony, along with their Altarian and Nexus allies, had made their decision. Humans were too unpredictable, too dangerous, too human. "They're calling us a galactic contaminant," Rodriguez continued, his knuckles white as he gripped his console. "All human colonies beyond the Sol system are to be contained indefinitely." Dr. Elena Vasquez looked up from her research station, where she'd been cataloging the quantum signatures of the collapsing gates. "Contained," she repeated bitterly. Such a clinical word for abandoning 12 billion people. The irony wasn't lost on any of them. Humanity had been the ones to perfect gate technology, to open the pathways between stars, and now those same pathways were being severed, leaving human colonies scattered across dozens of systems with no way home and no way to reach each other. "Captain," came a new voice from the engineering station. Chief Engineer Park had been unusually quiet during their escape from the Kepler system. "I've been running diagnostics on our gate drive. The hegemony may have destroyed the physical infrastructure, but they couldn't destroy human ingenuity." Chen turned to face him, catching something in his tone, a spark of defiance that had been notably absent from her crew since their world had collapsed around them. "Explain." Park's weathered face broke into the first smile she'd seen in days. "Ma'am, they shut down the gates, but they forgot something fundamental about humans. We don't just adapt to technology, we improve it. Transcend it." He activated his holographic display, showing the quantum field equations that governed gate travel. Every human engineer, every human physicist who worked on gate technology added something. A small improvement here, an efficiency boost there. The aliens adopted our basic design, but they never understood the human touches we built into it. Dr. Vasquez leaned forward, her scientific curiosity overriding her despair. "What kind of touches?" "Redundancy protocols they considered unnecessary. Quantum entanglement backups they thought were wasteful. Emergency resonance frequencies they dismissed as paranoid." Park's fingers danced across his controls, highlighting dozens of subsystems. "They built a cage, Dr. Vasquez, but they built it using locks we designed." The implications hit Chen like a physical blow. "You're saying we can bypass their blockade?" "I'm saying we can do better than that." Park's smile turned predatory. "I'm saying we can build our own network. Every human ship with a gate drive can become a node. Every human colony can become a hub. They wanted to contain us? They just forced us to evolve." Lieutenant Rodriguez swiveled in his chair, hope creeping into his voice for the first time in weeks. "But the power requirements, the quantum calculations, building a gate network from scratch would take decades, maybe centuries." "It would take the hegemony centuries," Park corrected. "But they're not human. They don't have Dr. Chen's work on quantum consciousness interfaces. They don't have the Marcus protocol for distributed processing. And they certainly don't have what every human has in abundance, the absolute refusal to accept limitations." Dr. Vasquez was already pulling up her own research, her mind racing as she began to see the possibilities. "If we network human consciousness through quantum entanglement, use our intuitive processing capabilities as biological quantum computers, we could calculate gate trajectories in real time," Chen finished, understanding flooding through her. "No massive infrastructure needed. No centralized control points they could destroy. Just human will made manifest across the stars." Park nodded. "The beauty is they'll never see it coming. They think in terms of building and controlling. They can't comprehend a network that exists in human determination itself. Every act of defiance, every refusal to surrender, every small rebellion makes the network stronger." Chen stood slowly, feeling something she hadn't felt since watching the gates collapse. Command authority, not just over her ship but over humanity's destiny. "How long?" "First connection? With the right volunteers and Dr. Vasquez's consciousness interface? 6 months, ma'am. Full network linking all human colonies? Park's grin was savage now. 2 years. Maybe less if word spreads about what we're doing. And when it's complete? When it's complete, Captain, we won't just have bypassed their cage. We'll have transcended their entire concept of space travel. While they're still building gates, we'll be stepping between stars on nothing but human will and quantum mechanics. Dr. Vasquez looked up from her calculations, her eyes bright with possibility. There's something else. If this works, if we can create a consciousness-driven quantum network, we won't be limited to predetermined destinations. We could go anywhere, explore regions of space they've never even imagined. The bridge fell silent as the implications sank in. The hegemony hadn't just failed to contain humanity. They'd inadvertently freed them from the limitations of conventional travel entirely. Chen walked to the viewport one last time, looking back at the debris of the Kepler Gateway. Open a channel to all human vessels in the fleet. Channel open, ma'am. This is Captain Chen to all ships. Today they tried to cage us. They destroyed our roads home, thinking distance would defeat us. They forgot that humans don't just use technology, we become it. We don't just travel between stars, we make the stars come to us. She paused, watching as more human ships appeared on sensors, all fleeing the same catastrophe, all carrying the same indomitable spirit. They closed the gates. But human determination doesn't need gates. Begin implementing the Marcus Protocol. It's time to show the galaxy what happens when you try to contain the unconfinable. In the months that followed, hegemony long-range sensors would detect impossible readings. Human ships appearing in restricted space with no gates nearby. Human colonies communicating across impossible distances. Human explorers pushing into regions that should have been unreachable. They had closed the gates, but they had forgotten that gates were just the beginning of human ambition, not its limit. And in the quantum foam between stars, human consciousness reached out, touched, and transcended every boundary the galaxy had ever known.